What's going on, guys? Jennifer and I, we are here to give you a first-time home buyer ceremony. We are here in lovely downtown Toms River. So this presentation is going to be tailored to the downtown Toms River and local surrounding areas. We're doing it for first-time home buyers, but if you're in the market and you do want to know a little bit about the area, you can still get some information out of this, and hopefully y'all find this enjoyable. First up, Jen and I are your hosts, and I'll give her a second so she can introduce a little bit about herself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Framheim from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Fox and Roach. I have been in the real estate business total 20 years, some mortgage side, now real estate side. I do live in Toms River with my husband and my two sons, Christian and Andrew. I come from a long line of law enforcement. My father was an FBI agent, my husband is an FBI agent, and my stepdad is retired police officer.
So for myself, Doug Matei, I've been a lender for just shy of a decade, been a military officer for 21 plus years, just recently retired, and tons of family in the law enforcement community, military communities. And I live here in Toms River with my wife and son, Joey. And actually, our sons go to school together. So lots of fun. We love the community. We're all about Toms River. We love it. And we're really hoping that you get some information and maybe you come be our neighbors.
Now that you know a little bit about us,
all we're going to do is just go through these 4 blocks.
This is what we're going to discuss in the following slides. Hey, gang. So on the next slide, we're going to dive more into the understanding of the home buying process from a realtor's perspective. So we're going to talk about your budget, which is super important to get before we look at any houses. You're going to want to talk to Doug about that. We'll dive more into that later. Most importantly also is your search. When you're searching for your home, that's also super important, and I can walk you more through that as you go through the process. Presenting a winning offer. When you do find a home that you love, I can walk you through the steps as far as presenting a really great offer so that it puts you to the top of all the other offers. Home inspections are super important, depending the age of the house, and we can dive more into that later, and also your closing process.
When you were talking searching for the properties, are there specific things to look at that would help a potential buyer make sure that they're not in maybe some kind of heartbreak or set up for failure in a way?
I will set them up on a search through the website, and it will specify specific parameters that they're looking for so that when those houses become available in that price range, they will get notified immediately.
Okay, so that's awesome. So your clients will basically get notified based on what you guys already talk about. They'll get notified about homes that come onto the market.
And as soon as they come onto the market.
That's outstanding. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into some more of those steps in some coming slides.
Now we're going to talk about finding you the right home. We're going to dive a little bit into needs versus wants, prioritizing your non-negotiables, previewing homes in the price range that you have been pre-approved for, and then also Zillow searches and Realtor.com searches.
I bet you the needs versus wants are kind of the crazy topics that buyers come and bring you because they didn't really talk about that.
No.
Everybody always wants the 5-bedroom with a pool.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But nobody really kind of narrows down what's actually in need. So like someone with 2 kids in their household, that's a 3-bedroom.
Yes.
That's not a 4 or 5-bedroom house.
No.
So that would
have family or in-laws or people coming and staying with you, but you usually find that out pretty soon in the process when you're speaking with your clients.
Got it. So that would be kind of an example as a need versus a want. Then.
Correct.
So something like a finished basement
is a want, not a need. You don't need a finished basement.
Unless if you're a professional that's working from home and you have to have your office space.
Correct. And usually you find that out pretty soon in the initial stages of your conversation with your client.
So that would be important things for first-time home buyers to be able to know that we want to know these types of information or these pieces of information because that's how we're going to frame the future your home search. So the next step after is going to look at these homes. We've established your budget. We're going to establish your needs versus your wants, and we're going to try to get all of your needs are non-negotiable.
Correct.
But we're going to try to stretch as many of the wants
as we
inside the budget.
Correct.
So that's why we really want to know these different things. It helps us help you. So just know that we're doing it. And I know it says it up there and it's kind of funny, but no, not everything can be a non-negotiable, all right? Because this is an HGTV land when, I catch butterflies and my budget's 1.2 million. So We have to make
True.
we have to make sure that we temper those expectations. After we establish that, and Jen sets you up, and you get that automatic campaign drip that she was trying to explain to you, that when houses on the market in that range will start to come to you, that's when you in the background should be doing your own little searches. All right. If you've taken the advice from the lending side and you've taken the advice from the realtor side, you should be doing your own searching, like looking at different things, because you'll start to be able to frame how far will your money take you? Because we all want the perfect home. But if anybody's ever watched The Property Brothers,
Well-
the very first thing they do is take them to the home with all of their wants.
Yes.
And they destroy their budget.
Yep.
And it happens time and time again, and that's fine. But we want you to empower yourself with the knowledge that we're not trying to, just make a quick deal out of this. We really want you to know that, hey, listen, this is what's out here. We're the local folks. We do it all the time. But do it for yourself, just to give yourself an idea, so you know that when we bring you something, we can temper expectations and go into it with a clear head. We're going to make objective decisions, not emotional ones, right? And another quick tip, especially from my side of the house, when you're looking at these different things on realtor.com, Zillow.com, any of the different home searches, we don't get paid by any of them, by the way.
No.
So make sure that when you're looking at the affordability tools or the mortgage calculator, it'll preset you at 20% down with the best credit profile, the best interest rate.
Yes.
And you might think like, oh, I can afford this.
Right.
Make sure you've had those conversations with your lender. They explain to you some of those topics, and then you manipulate that mortgage calculator to be what your current profile is, so you have a really good feeling where you're at. All right, don't fall into that. We're going to talk more about that pitfall later. Let's go to the point where, okay, you've done your own homework. You've gotten advice from both sides of the house. Now we're ready to make an offer. All right, there are a lot of different things. This is where having the right realtor changes the game for you. All right, and there's certain aspects to the offer that are very, very important for you to be aware of. And you can go and Google all this stuff on your own afterwards. You want to educate yourselves. But coming from the realtor side of the house, what are those key points that really, really make the offer very strong?
Okay, so you want to make sure that when you're making an offer, you are aware of your approval limits, what the market's doing. Also, you want to work with all the available information that you've been provided from your lender and from your realtor, so that you're making a strong offer when you present it. You want to make sure you include all key contingencies. As part of your offer, there are several key contingencies that you may qualify for being a first-time home buyer. So we want to make sure that we get all of those into the offer when we present it to the seller.
And contingencies, you're saying, so things along the lines of, if there's a unique scenario to a first-time home buyer, they can actually say, I would like to buy this house if this condition is met.
Correct. Yes.
That way it actually protects the buyer's offer and doesn't put them in a bad place.
Correct.
Got it. So that way the seller is aware.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, cool. So that's really good.
So you want to make sure when you're presenting the offer that you are flexible with the closing dates, because that makes you a stronger buyer if you're able to have that flexibility.
And when we talked about knowing your approval limit, did you have any examples that you can think of that why that really matters? So like from the lending side, if I issue an approval for $350,000, like what are the things that go into that could actually change that drastically?
So it may say Doug approves you for $350,000. There are certain things that can throw that number off that you have to be aware of. Flood insurance is one, especially down here near the shore. It can definitely throw the numbers off. So you want to make sure that you have all that information from the properties that you're looking at to make sure that your numbers still work.
Because all of those different costs go into the mortgage and also go into the qualification ratios,
Correct.
which I'll talk further on, but that's good. So you have to know where the flex is in your budget, know the market. So you said something interesting earlier. You were talking about knowing your market. Is that one of those things where I might be able to make an offer now in a certain scenario, but later in a different market, that same offer just wouldn't fly?
Correct.
So Jen, you said something awesome earlier and really intriguing. So I wanted to kind of follow up. It's know your market is one of those things. And I think you were telling me this earlier, was if it's a buyer's market, like knowing your market is very important, because you don't want to get folks' hopes up and then let them down.
Correct.
So like in a buyer's market, buyers can dictate more terms. So they can say, hey, I saw this report. I see your house. It's good. I just kind of want to negotiate the price.
Yes.
And then that could fly.
Yes.
On the inverse side, which I think
Seller
we're
side.
in right now, is a seller's market.
Yes.
First-time homebuyers should be aware that when you're in a seller's market, you might not be getting all those things that you want.
Correct.
So those are kinds of things that you should know when you're going in, because whatever your personal emotional side, like, you know your finances and where you want to be. But when you're in a seller's market like we're in now,
Yeah.
as of, was it May 20th?
Yes.
2025,
Mhm.
you have to know that you don't get to dictate some of those terms, because there's another buyer out there that's gonna take it.
Correct.
All right. So that's really great information to know, and I appreciate you for telling me that earlier. So awesome. When we were talking earlier about knowing your market, you provided me a lot of this information that's now on the screen. So can you kind of walk us through why some of this information that we're looking at is helpful, and then how first-time homebuyers can digest that information?
Okay, so the next slide we have is just gives you a little bit of a couple stats here as far as the Toms River area and the market. We have homes currently listed in Toms River, 301. There's 224 under contract. So that means there's about 80 homes for you to put offers on right now. 42 days on the market currently. So that means that homes right now are moving extremely fast. So when you do see a home, once you're approved by a lender, and you want to put an offer in, you want to get it in as soon as possible, because the houses are moving very quickly.
So it's important to know, for the theme of what we've been trying to communicate, especially for the first-time homebuyers, is that if you go in with the right folks on your team. This, is a highly sensitive matter. We're talking your finances and the next couple of years of your life, and a large financial purchase. We're not always going to tell you what you want to hear.
Correct.
But we're going to tell you some of the things that you need to hear. And it's important that you need to hear these things, because this is how you set yourself up for success in making sure that you get through the process without a lot of angst and anxiety.
Correct.
So that's great stats. So what else do we see?
Also, we're looking homes sold. 2024, there was 462 homes sold. So far in 2025, we have 440 homes sold, and we're not even halfway through the year. That is really good that there's that many homes that were sold so far in 2025.
So wild stat, and kind of reinforces the fact that we are getting into that seller's market where homes are moving now.
Yes.
Right? So buyers don't really have to say, sellers do.
Yeah.
So
also, as far as first-time home buyers go, we have on the screen here average sale prices, 2025 compared to 2024. It looks like 2024, it was 593, 324. Compared to 2025, looks it dipped down a bit, 575, 540. So that's good for first-time home buyers to know, to see where you're at when you're presenting those offers and what you're approved for.
outstanding. Great information. Really appreciate that. All right, team. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to go a little bit back onto my perspective. So we got Jen's great perspective about the different things that you should know as a first-time home buyer. Now, if you were going to get a consultation from her or work with her, she's going to walk you through all those different steps. On the inverse, or the other side, from my perspective, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And some of them up here are right here. We're going to talk about your budget. We're going to talk about what is cash to close. A lot of different folks think down payment, cash to close. It's all just a bunch of terms. Break it down right, nice and simple for you. We're also going to talk a little bit about the differences between what a pre-approval and a pre-qual are. You might see it online, like, hey, get an instant pre-qual. And I'll kind of break that down and to tell you why that could be helpful if you're going to try to use that, or when is it time to go get a pre-approval. We're going to talk about some loan programs. We're not going to dive in too deep because it's a very extensive topic, but we will touch a little bit on DPAs, or down payment assistance. And then finally, we will get into payment breakdowns. What all goes into a payment breakdown? You know, as a first-time home buyer, sometimes you think, yeah, I'm just going to get a mortgage and I'm going to make a big payment, but there's a lot of different things that go into that. And it's good stuff for you to know. All right. So we'll break into it more. All right, guys. So in lending, it's called literally the Holy Trinity, the Golden Triangle, whatever you want to call it. But loan qualification boils down to three things simply: credit, income, and assets. You need a credit score to qualify for a program. You need a certain amount of income to be able to make sure your ratios are in line with that said program. So it's like the second layer of qualification. Credit gets you in the door, income gets you to the table, and then assets are what close the deal. So those three things combined are what make up your buyer's profile, or what helps you get qualified for a loan. You can be short on one, but bigger on the other, and you can make it work still. So if you're lower on your credit score, but you've got more money to be able to put down, you might still be able to make your income work. It's a flexible triangle, but that triangle needs to be manipulated the right way. And it's sometimes a little convoluted, which is why folks like me have a job.
Doug, question for you. For first-time home buyers, what credit score are you looking for? I know there's a lot of pieces that fall into it, and it's been a while since I did the lending side, but what is the credit score that score that you're looking for? Yeah.
A great question, and I appreciate that. So whenever we're going into it, we want at least a 620.
Okay.
So you're a 620, and the reason why I say that is because that's your breaking point for when you get into down payment assistance programs. So if you're in the need for that, that's where you kind of want to be. The higher your credit score is, the better your interest rate's going to be,
Okay.
and the better the terms are going to be for the buyer.
Okay.
But 620 is that number. Now, I will kind of say you can go as low as 500.
Okay.
You can go that low, but remember, it's going to remove something from the pie.
Correct.
You are not going to be eligible for down payment assistance programs.
Yep. Okay.
So credit score is going to be getting you in the door. 620 is going to get you into the door to just about everything.
Okay.
All right. That's your sweet spot.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Knowing your budget. All right. So we actually talked about this slightly earlier. We want to know what's all encompassed in the budget. If we talk and you say you're looking in the Toms River area in a specific section, the taxes in that area are $3,000. It's inland in a non-rated flood zone. Now, I gave you that pre-approval based on those numbers that we took. When that changes, if you look into a place now that's a condo on the water, it needs all different kinds of things. All right. There's HOAs that go into play here. So now that's another monthly debt that's going to go into, remember, when I calculate your income, it needs to fit inside qualification ranges. So those things really matter. It might sound wildly overwhelming, but that's why you talk to us. And that's why you have a great team that you work together and you kind of know what those boundaries look like. It's not for you to just know it all out the gate. That's why you work with folks. Why it matters, and the answer up there is peace of mind. And this sounds like an amazing sales pitch as to why you should work with professionals, but it really is a peace of mind. We work in a society where everyone's got highly technical and very specific jobs. Having to know it all is kind of unreasonable. So that's why you work with us. And listen, at the end of the day, we technically work for free all the way up until the end. There is no stress. You call us, you ask us whatever questions, and we work through all these things to make sure that you have some peace of mind. It's a smooth process and it's good for you. My main reason why I got into this was so I can help people. I really love being able to do that. And trust me, peace of mind is worth it.
Absolutely.
We all live very busy lives. We have all different kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
Buying a home, one of the top 3 most stressful things you will ever do.
We want to take that stress away from you or for you so you don't have that burden.
1000%. So
Yeah.
peace of mind is absolutely worth it. From our perspective, I get it, but that's why we do it for you. All right, folks, we're gonna break down a little bit about cash to close, what is all entailed in there, and then also your pre-approvals and your pre-quals, and we'll talk about that. So cash to close, lenders like to use the term cash to close. Most folks are very, very familiar with down payment because that's the term that gets thrown around with a lot of different loan programs. They think down payment is literally what they need to buy a home, which is wildly inaccurate.
Correct.
Wildly inaccurate.
Correct.
That's where down payment assistance programs come into play because the game knows.
Yes.
The system knows. They created these programs specifically for that because buyers are just slightly uneducated on this topic specifically.
Yes.
So whenever you go ahead and you do something, right, we talked about the golden triangle, we got in the door, we got a good credit score, we've got our income, so we're getting closer to the table, and we've got some assets. So like we can make a deal happen here. Now, your down payment is a requirement for you to be eligible for a loan program. That's how that works. FHA programs, you gotta all Google this, 3.5% is the lowest you can go for an FHA program.
Correct.
That has nothing to do with paying for your attorney, with paying for your title, paying the lender.
It's completely separate.
All separate. So when lending speaks, we speak cash to close.
Correct.
And that is all encompassing of all of those fees that I just talked about on top of your down payment. So that all gets wrapped up. And depending on where you are, I'll break it all down and talk about this a little bit further. But depending on where you are and what your taxes look like, that actual cash to close could look vastly different. So team, the last thing I want to talk about for your cash to close is your escrows. So escrows are kind of a topic that if you've never done it before, doesn't make sense, right?
Right. Correct.
So your escrows, you pay your taxes every 3 months, once a quarter is how your taxes are paid. When you go and buy a house, you actually are depositing 3 months of taxes
Taxes.
into a bucket that gets paid with your mortgage. Now, wherever you are in the quarter, taxes still need to get balanced out. Depending on where you are in the flow, you could be upwards of 6 months of worth of taxes.
Yeah.
That all gets put into your escrows.
Correct.
So also in your escrows are your insurance,
Yes.
because not a lot of folks realize that you're actually paying up front for your homeowner's insurance.
Correct.
So when you get a quote, let's say $1,500, and I don't know that
Throwing it out
there. Yeah, we're just throwing a random number.
Right.
You will actually pay that up front. You will pay the $1,500. You will build your escrows every month. You will take whatever that number is, 1,500 divided by 12. You will put that number into your escrows
Yes.
every month. And then at the end of the year, your servicer for your mortgage payment will pay your insurance for you on your home.
Now, question for you, Doug. So for a first-time home buyer, are they required to escrow, or can they opt to pay their taxes and insurance and flood separately? Does it depend on the program that they're in?
So great question. Now, depending on where you are and what program, first-time home buyers will most likely not be in a scenario where you can waive your escrows.
Okay.
And that is specifically because most programs will require somewhere around 20 down before you can actually do that.
Okay.
So if you've looked it up online and you're like, I'm a savvy investor and I want that 3 months of interest, that's not something that you can get into until you hit the 20% mark.
Okay.
And then certain investors even go higher, but that's where you should keep that.
Good to know.
All right, gang, let's get into the EMD. EMD is a fun topic for me because it's her lane, but it goes on the contract we get and people get confused. When you do a real estate contract, it is basically a deal between the buyer and seller. And you are saying that I want to buy your home for $350. We've been using that, I think, for a little bit. $350 for your house. When we talk about contingencies and all this other kind of stuff that you're putting in there, the EMD or the deposit or earnest money deposit is something that you will negotiate. And this is the money you're willing to put up to secure the
Property.
deal.
Correct.
That is part of the real estate transaction
My side.
and has nothing to do with me.
No.
You do not lose that money though. If the deal goes through and everything is good to go, that money gets added into the deal and it comes off of your cash to close.
Correct.
But if something does go left, let's say the seller walks, the buyer walks, something goes funky and there's a breach of that contract, the money that you put in the EMD is actually subject to forfeit.
Correct.
That is still separate from the lending side.
Correct.
So a lot of times buyers always freak out. They're always like, oh my God, I just gave $5,000. Where did it go? It's going to go to the professionals and it's going to come off the numbers at the end. But that has nothing to do with your down payment or your cash to close.
Correct.
It just comes off at the end.
Correct.
So definitely good things to know. Google it, definitely different. Listen, pre-quals versus pre-approvals. I will tell you, if you have a conversation with me and you say, I make $100,000 and I'm going to be like, well, what kind of debt you got? And you're going to be like, I got no debt. I'm cool. Got it. I'm going to tell you a number. I'm just going to go like this. All right. Pre-approve you for $350 because that's the number we're going with.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a guess. I didn't verify. I didn't fact check nothing. That pre-qual is a guess.
Correct.
Now, if you've got a really good loan officer, they can sometimes be close, but they are a guess based off verbal communication between lender and client.
Yep.
All right. A pre-approval is your peace of mind. Most realtors are going to say, I want to see it.
Yes.
Yep. They want to see that.
Yes.
The pre-approval is not only the peace of mind, it is literally your green light. So in order to make it turn from a pre-qual to a pre-approval, the lender will actually have to verify and validate documents to back up what you are telling me. So you tell me you make $100,000, I need to see your pay stubs. I also need to see your last 2 years tax returns or your W-2s, depending on what kind of borrower you are.
Correct.
I need to validate that you have that. And if you tell me you've got $100,000 to put into a deal, I'm going to high five you because I don't know anybody that has that.
Me neither.
But I'm going to need to see your bank account statements. And by the way, if you just deposited $100,000,
they're going to want to know where it came from.
Yeah, it's called sourcing and it has to be in there for at least 2 months.
Correct.
So these are all things that I need to validate, and you and I will talk once I review documents. That is why the pre-approval is so much stronger because it is actually validated.
And just from a realtor standpoint, my side, when you are submitting an offer, pre-approval is what the sellers want to see. They don't want to see a pre-qual. They don't want to just see a guess of what the client makes or what they can be pre-approved up to or pre-qualified up to. So a pre-approval will help you stand out compared to other offers.
So basically, it's a gold standard when you're making an offer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So please know that when you're doing it. And if you're looking online and you can get a pre-qual letter online on a quick quote.
You definitely just want to talk to a lender. Go right to the source.
And remember, it's talking to a lender is free all the way up until the end. All right, so team, now we're gonna go on to the common pitfalls part of the presentation. Jen and I will basically go back and forth and we'll talk about these common things, but this is where we put both of our pieces of knowledge or our domain knowledge together and say that when we're doing deals, these are the typical things that come up. Just like we were talking about needs versus wants, that's like a pitfall because everybody goes in with wants and non-negotiables.
Correct.
And don't really define those needs.
Right.
And then same thing with us. Everybody goes in with the assumption that a down payment is my cash to close. And
it is not.
It is misleading. So here's some of the other pitfalls that we want to talk about in this presentation.
Okay, so as far as on the realtor side, searching, going on Google, going on Zillow, before you're pre-approved, you're just working yourself up for heartbreak because you fall in love with a house and it's everything you want and you go and see it and then you talk to a lender after the fact and find out it's more house than what you can afford. It's always just better to, and I can't stress it enough, get pre-approved prior to looking at houses. You can go on and search it all day long if you want to, but it's very, very important to get that pre-approval first because then you'll know exactly what you can qualify for and you won't get your hopes up and then be let down.
And it's big for us too because when we're working with clients and we're talking with folks, we're not holding keys to the kingdom here. We want you to get what you want.
Yes.
We have to tell you the parameters that we can work in.
Correct.
You're going to get mad at us sometimes. It's going to happen, but we want to mitigate as much of that as possible. And we understand that the climate, it's a hard sell all the time.
Yeah.
So it is rough sometimes for consumers and buyers out there, but just know that when you find the right one and you find the right group of people, we literally are here to make it easier for you. So it's good to know and do your best, but the earlier you can talk to a professional, the better.
The better.
All right, team. So understanding your monthly costs. These are some of the things that it's kind of a sensitive topic because folks don't like to be told about their budget. Finances in general are very sensitive, but we as professionals, we are not the credit or the income or any of that police.
Nope.
And we're not here to judge. We're here to provide guidance and provide the help. So the one thing that we want to talk about is that when you qualify for a loan program, it lets you go up to 50%, sometimes more of what you make. That has nothing to do with all the other costs that are associated with home ownership.
Correct.
So let's just be fair and start to look it up, ChatGPT it. What are the actual costs associated with home ownership? You're talking about cutting your lawn. You're talking about power washing your house.
Yep.
You're talking about when your furnace breaks or a hot water heater goes.
Just miscellaneous everything.
You need to have something in your budget
for that.
So that you're doing your repairs and your upkeep and your maintenance. Not only that, but you're doing life. You're going out, you're going to a brewery, right? You're having a beer. You're going out for date night.
You have kids.
So
Super expensive.
Don't we know it?
Yes.
So these are all the things that when we say know your monthly budget, we really want to see that you do have a strong grasp on it. Because the one thing we don't want is because we're going to keep in touch with you. We're going to obviously all the way through and pass beyond the deal.
Yep.
We don't want to hear that like now you're struggling. A lot of folks do it. It's a lot more common than we know, but we're here to try to say it. We're not here going to sell you one way or the other.
Right.
But we will present all the things to you and we want you to be financially literate. I am not a financial planner. Right? I am not licensed to do that for you. So I can't go down that road. I can tell you what loan programs you fit into and I can be upfront about all the costs associated with the deal. Outside of that, we need you to know your budget. So it's super important.
Super important. So when purchasing a home, you want to make sure that you're not draining your entire savings because once you purchase that home, there's going to be all kinds of expenditures that you don't even know about until you're in the house. So you want to make sure that you have those buckets and you have that budget set up where you can put the money down, but you also still have money left over for everything else that's going to come once you purchase that house.
Or at least know that you've got a plan for
in place for the miscellaneous stuff. Correct.
All right, so really, really big, and both of us have experienced this. And it's a cringe moment, by the way. When it happens, I giggle and I tell my clients, do not buy a Ferrari when you're in the loan process. We did the work. We talked about your budget. We gave you the pre-approval. The realtor's now gotten you out, formulated this amazing offer, and you won, by the way. And now we're in the process. From the time that you talk to the lender, all the way through closing.
Don't buy anything.
You need to know that I took a snapshot of your credit profile at the start. And now that's good for 120 days. Inside that period, you go and buy a home. And all of a sudden you put more things on your credit. Remember when I told you credit, income, assets? We've now changed your credit profile and we've changed how much income you have to pay for your house.
Because he's going to do a soft pull at the end right before closing. So he's going to know and the numbers are going to change.
And that could throw you
Out of
outside.
qualification.
And it happens
More often than not.
And some folks go so far as to be like angry, like, what do you mean I can afford this? And I'm like, I'm not telling you you can afford it. I'm just saying it's going to mess up your deal. When you're in the process, and it is a regulatory thing, by the way,
Yes.
because somebody on the back end of this is buying that loan and investing in it.
Carrying it, yep.
And it has a bunch of other layers involved. It's not me. Trust me. I don't mind what you do with your money. But if you want a home, I'm telling you what you should know and what you should be careful of, what not to do.
Correct.
So please don't make huge purchases. A factual one is furniture. So folks get really, really excited about their home. They want to
start decorating.
They want to do amazing stuff with it.
Yep.
Now, I can't like legally say like, just wait. But if I took your credit in the beginning all the way through closing, it cannot change. So if you're going to go out of your pocket and you want to pay for something and we've got the money to do it because you've talked to your lender and you said, hey, there's enough room in there,
Right.
that's fine.
Right.
But your credit profile cannot change all the way through the purchase and closing, which is called closing instead of purchase.
Right.
Closing of the home. It needs to stay the same. So remember, money out of pockets, you got money under the mattress that's not sourced, that I don't know about, I don't care.
Right.
Somebody gives a gift, don't care.
Right.
But don't go opening new
Credit cards.
Big, big no-no. It happens all the time, a lot more than you think. And we want to tell you, don't do it.
Don't do it.
And the final one, we'll let Jen close that out.
The next thing I want to talk about is falling in love with the wrong house. So you've gone through the process, you got approved through the lender, you found a house, you love it, it's at the top of your budget, and inspections start being completed and everything is failing. It needs all new utilities. The deck is just being stacked against you.
And let's just say the appraisal comes in and it doesn't even cover. So now we're draining more
of your savings
just to get you in the door.
Right.
It's heartbreaking, but these are all stacked red flags that are
Yeah.
kind of painting a picture that
You should probably not move forward with it. You should probably get out of it. And there's ways to get out of the contract. If home inspections fail, if, you're draining all of your, assets to fix things up, there's ways to get you out of that contract.
if the inspection does come through, we can ask for credits to fix some of those meager end items.
Yes.
Right. So
And it doesn't mean the seller is going to do it, but you can request it. Once the home inspection comes back and say there's issues on there and it's at the top of your budget, but you're not willing to move forward unless X, Y, and Z are done, the seller doesn't have to do anything, but there are ways to, the seller can lower the price of the house or only fix one of the three things that you're requesting. There are always ways to adjust those things.
But the point we're trying to make is that if everything is stacking the deck against you,
Yes.
we understand that you might be falling in love and this might be exactly what you want, but it could be the wrong house.
Yes.
All right. And we just want to make sure that you are heeding our warning when we're going through the process and telling you that it's now time to make a hard decision whether we're going to continue with this process or not.
Correct.
And trust me, everybody wants to make deals happen. This is literally what we get paid to do. But at the end of the day, if it's not right for you, it's okay at any point in time to just walk.
Yes.
All right. And we can work it out. As long as it's done the legal process and the legal way,
We can do it.
we can do it. So just don't fall in love with that wrong house.
Correct.
All right, team, for our fans on YouTube, we got fans. So for fans on YouTube, you guys don't have access to this, but we're going to shut the camera off and do some live Q&A. We'll get into that, but we hope you enjoyed the presentation. We hope you got something out of it. And then if you did want to contact us, we'll put the details inside the comment section. So that way you can reach out to us at any point in time. But remember, for Tom's River, this is a presentation for the first-time home buyers or any other home buyers really, that really want to get some information. Hey, maybe you haven't bought a house in 10 years, right?
Right.
So,
and you'd be a first-time home buyer again.
and we really hope that you got something good out of it, and we were really stoked that you were here. So thank you so much on behalf of Jen and I.
Thank you very much.
And can't wait to connect soon.